Hey everyone, welcome back to Compound Thesis, where we discuss the intersection of crypto and the capital markets. I'm Jim Hiltner and I'm the head of sales at Compound. Today our guest is Tai Panich, and she's the CEO and CIO of SCB10X. SCB10X is the venture capital arm of Siam Commercial Bank, and the bank was first established in Thailand. Tai, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Compound Treasury, for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you. I know you've been traveling quite a bit, so thank you for joining us. To kick us off with an icebreaker, I thought, it'd be interesting to hear, who's your favorite account to follow on crypto Twitter?
That's a good question. There are many, but I guess my favorite is the crypto dog. He's like the crypto OG. I learned a lot from him, but he's very funny and not only just talking about crypto, but also about like life philosophy, about management, and then about like health and wellness. And I like that a lot of time he also show the meal that he's having. So I guess there are different point of view from his perspective.
I mean, I started to learn how to cook a little bit over COVID, so maybe I'll have to put some of my meals on Twitter and you can follow that.
Yeah, you never know. There might be fan club that like that.
Yeah, we'll see. I know my mom will be proud. Actually able to put something on the table that was edible. So yeah, just before we dive into kind of the episode, I wanted to just start with a little bit of background about SCB10X. And, it'd also be great to hear. I know that you were recently, congratulations, by the way, promoted to CEO, and just would love to hear more about your journey.
Yeah, so SCB10X, we are the digital technology investment of Siam Commercial Bank. And like you said, we are the biggest and oldest bank in Thailand, already 114 years old. So SCB10X, we're quite new. We started in early 2020. At that time, the bank wanted to have the investment and venture builder that focus on disruptive technology and basically prepare the bank, for the future when the dynamic of financial services industry will be quite different from today. So we are pretty much a speedboat that the bank sent out, to scope how the world going to be like in the future, and then invest and bring back the technology and share back to the bank, and then also do the building part that can prepare the bank for the future. Yeah, so that's us. And we have the two business that we do. So investing, that's our venture capital. We invest globally, and we invest from seed stage to growth. And in the past 2.5 years, we really focus our investment in crypto Web3 area. And we are the investor in the like of 5blocks, Anchorage, Nansen, Talos, The Sandbox, Axelan, and many more. As for venture builder team, that's the building part. We have the developers in-house with strong technical capabilities, and they can do many things. They can build mobile app, they can build dApp, decentralized app, they can do on-chain activities for our portfolio companies. They want to be able to start a startup and spin it off, raise money from outside, and create the future unicorn for Thailand. And I guess like one of the venture builder portfolio company that we incubated is the like of Apeboard, cross-chain DeFi dashboard, that basically started from our venture building team, and we incubated internally. And when it achieved product market fit, we spun it off, raised money from outside. And in May this year, it got acquired by Nansen. Yeah, so that's what we did. And for me, I'm an engineer by background. I went to MIT, electrical engineering, computer science, undergrad school. And then right after I graduated, I went to work in a startup in Silicon Valley, designing network microprocessor. And then we got acquired in 1.5 years after that, during the .com boom. And I work in the acquired company Broadcom for 3.5 more years. So in total, 5 years in the field, in the engineering field. But during those times, I love investing. I love to know about how things, fit in a big picture, how tech companies interact with each other or compete with each other, and how the technology is evolving. So I decided to go back to business school. So went to Harvard Business School, and then after that, made a career transition into investment management. So for 14 years before I came to SCB10X, I actually was investing in publicly listed technology companies across globally, but focus a lot in Asia. And 2.5 years ago, I came to SCB10X to help start SCB10X along with some of the core team members, and was CIO at the time at the beginning. And it was a really fun experience because at the beginning, we had zero idea what we're going to do. So how you scope down, everything in the world that we could do into a narrow area. That was very interesting experience. And every day get to interact with, all these passionate founders in blockchain, crypto space is a very rewarding experience to me.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you have such a broad experience on the building side and the investing side. So no wonder the fund or SCB10X has modeled a lot of your experience in terms of both the studio and the investing side. We'll dive into both of those a little bit more, but it sounds like you have a really broad remit. The landscape that you can invest in is not just global, but it's also across fintech, across Web3. I'm curious, like your origin story, or kind of going back, if you can point to any sort of catalyst that led you to start investing in Web3 space.
Yeah, so at the beginning, we could do anything. We could invest in anything that are disruptive. So at that time, we were looking into 5 key areas, which is fintech, future of work and lifestyle, health and wellness, deep tech, and IoT. And then my team would tell me that's everything in the world. And I was like, yeah, that is true. But then, try to narrow down the area that we don't have expertise on. And when it comes to fintech, we always interested in blockchain. So we went into blockchain and then, came to DeFi. And when we look at DeFi, it was just amazing. I had invested in so many technology companies, especially in software, but I have never seen anything like this that, 10 people or even fewer than that could start a crypto bank and have 10 billion of asset in the system and could run just like that. It's just so efficient. And that was because of the smart contract, right? That you can write the code to dictate how the counterparties interact with each other, how the interest should be get paid, how the position should be liquidated, things like that. Yeah. So it was really amazing to me. And we think that we have to really study this because it has everything that the traditional finance has. It can be credit lending, trading, derivative, insurance, asset management. So if we are not participating in this, not really studying or investing or partnering, we could completely be disrupted. And so that's why we other areas are very interesting, but this is completely disruptive to financial service industry. And we really have to really focus in here. And that's why, we have been since pretty much focused our investment in blockchain, DeFi, especially in financial related area. Yeah, and have never looked back since. But since then, we also expand into other area as well, NFT related and metaverse, because we also feel that Web3, read, write, own, creator economy is something also very interesting. And bank and other financial services company can also participate in this area, can have bank inside the metaverse as well. Something
right.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on disruption there. And I mean, you're at the tip of the spear, I'm sure, as it relates to, your access or, exposure to this new frontier compared to a bank that's 114 years old. I think that you said it at the beginning. And so I'm just curious, as you were starting to see these opportunities and the disruption that was coming, whether it was DeFi or other sectors that you mentioned in Web3, can you talk about what your process was like convincing stakeholders internally at the bank and maybe any guests in this space? Because I can imagine that when you first brought this up, they thought, that you might be a little bit crazy, but clearly you've had, the opportunity to, get a lot of support behind you in order to continue to build out the investing side and the building side. So just curious, that process as you went to legacy and, the legacy side of your business and were able to convince them to deploy assets in the space.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, at the beginning, it was quite challenging. What we had to do is that we had to do a lot of research. So basically, we had to have our team, not just venture capital, but the venture building and the business development people to all doing the research in this area from different angle point of view. And then we try to, become an expert in this area. But of course, we cannot be because it's so new to us. So what we had to do is that we talk to a lot of founders and VC in this area to try to get to understand, the growth area, the opportunities. And then what we do is that when we invest in other area like fintech in the past, we would invest into the VC fund first. And after we develop expertise for a while, then we would invest directly into startups. So that's what we did too. We decided that, okay, we're going to invest into VC fund that focus into crypto DeFi area so that we could learn how they do things, what are the things that we should be careful or be aware of, what are the risks and things like that. Yeah, so at the time we talked to so many VC fund in crypto and DeFi space, learn from pretty much the best and decided to invest in one of them. So when we have to go to the board, we decided that first we have to educate the board, because if we invest directly into a startup in this area and the board had no idea about this space, they would not feel comfortable and they would be concerned about the risks involved. So we actually had many sessions that we educate the board about the opportunity in crypto, the future of crypto and DeFi. And what we would do is that we would invite the expert in the area, from the CFI area and DeFi area, from the already successful entrepreneurs, to come and talk to the board. And that is very good, because if we actually go, try to educate the board directly, the board would never believe us, because they'll be like, you guys are so new. How can you be the expert? You cannot be. So we decided to take the real expert and, go convince them about the opportunity in this area. Yeah, and then we invest into the VC fund in this specific area, had them also come to talk to the board. And then after a while, then we start investing into this space. But the way we do it is a little bit different from other VC, I think, is that we actually do our own research on the opportunity that we think is quite immense in this space. Like, for example, we would really focus a lot in infrastructure, because when the technology is so new like this, investing in infrastructure never hurt. And if in the future, crypto, DeFi, blockchain area want to onboard, billion user, you need to really build on infrastructure. So we would do fundamental research and then try to find particular area that we would like to invest in. And after we do the research, we would find, the players in that particular area and choose the top ones, and then would go after the founder directly that, we really interested in your company because we think you guys are the best. And if there is opportunity in the future, you guys open the round, we really would like to participate. And a lot of time, we found that that's a very good thing, because sometimes, the round might open up in 1 or 2 months after. And if we hadn't approached them, the deal might not even come to us, because the company is so interesting that someone would just come to them and immediately take the round away from us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of it is people driven. It sounds like you really spent the time getting to know. Obviously, you had a macro view on where the puck was heading, proverbial sense, but you definitely dove into understanding who the people were that were actually building, and bringing that in front of your board so that they weren't hearing from you, but you were putting them in front of the actual founders and the builders to hear directly what they're seeing as opportunity and how they're approaching building against a certain problem. So there's continues to be more and more time. You see every day more talent that's leaving maybe traditional financial services or tech, moving into this space. And just curious, when you're looking at evaluating founders that are building in Web3, what are some of the things that you look at in terms of the teams that you want to?
Yeah, normally for the founder, definitely have to look at the experience that they have before, whether it's really relevant to what they are building. Because if they already have the experience that similar or very relevant to the area that they are building, then very likely that they actually know the pain point very well. Their solution might be able to solve that pain point in a more unique way. So we always look at the experience, but also the solution that they try to solve that pain point. Is it really unique, or is it like another incremental problem? So we always like the founder that have unique point of view and build something that are quite different from others. Yeah, it's very unfortunate that I guess nowadays we see a lot of projects that build a bit too incremental of what already available, or try to combine so many of the features together into one, but not many unique startups that are coming out right now. That's what we see. So we really hope that we will have a new wave of interesting, unique Web3 companies coming out in the future, because right now people really focus on building because of crypto winter. So they can really focus and hone in on their business. Yeah, but yeah, so that's, what we like and what we see in general. Yeah, we also like the founder to build in the area that have a big market size. Total available market TAM should be big as well, because if you're going to grow into a big company, you cannot build like only in a niche market that cannot expand beyond. And then other things will be like the team, if they actually work together before, that will be wonderful. Yeah, because startup is just hard and you will go to the down more than up. And so, ability to have that relationship that you work together before and have been through tough time together, that also very important. And then in general, also talking to the founder too, and then, see if there's chemistry between our team and them, because we will go through so many things together. Yeah, I, in general, talk to my founders like every week, like sometime every, whatever we can help, we would love to help, because, we excited to be in this together and, take our founder to the next level. So if we cannot get along, then it's difficult. Yeah, and then other things will be like scalability, because can this company, grow to be a big company, or will they be like the best small company for a long, long time? Yeah, so scalability is something that we really pay attention. Revenue model, yeah, they don't have to have like revenue at that point when we talk, but they should be thinking deeply about the future, how they're going to monetize. Sometimes we found a founder that really don't care about revenue monetization, just want to onboard you. We would love to hear. We want the founder to think deeply as well about, the milestone in the future, when you in the future can start getting the revenue. It doesn't have to be immediate.
Yeah, so it sounds, the founders out there that have a lot of experience in a particular area, that see an opportunity, that are, super passionate, but also building something very innovative rather than bundling, parts from other services. And those that get along well with, active investors should be knocking on your door and, bringing ideas to you. As it seems, at least in this winter right now, hopefully there's a lot of teams out there, I can imagine, that are building in certain areas that you would find interesting. And, given the winter that we're in right now, hopefully on the other side, spring, that there's a lot more opportunity for you to deploy and continue to help grow your portfolio companies. And, I know you're doing a lot on the building side as well yourself. So I'd imagine that, despite, being in the winter from an investing side, on the building side, I'm sure you're pretty active. You mentioned 8board earlier, how you, spun that out to a portfolio company earlier this year. Without leaking too much alpha, what you can disclose, just be curious, what's coming out next in the venture builder studio that you're working on or excited about now? And also like talk through just like very quickly, how do those projects come to life?
Yeah, so normally what happens is that for venture studio like us, there would be, product owner or founders that would like to start a startup, but they not yet know what they want to build. So the idea is still not crisp in their mind. So they could come to be with us and, spend time with other like-minded. So there will be a lot of our developers and builders in our platform that they could ideate with and form team, and then, can come out MVP, minimum viable product, and then test out, launch, and then test out to see whether, there are user or not. So basically, like, we want the people who are interested in entrepreneurship to come be with us. For them to, maybe they don't want to go full-blown entrepreneurship at the beginning, because the fact that you start a startup bootstrap and don't have, income might scare them, because if they are not so sure yet that what area they want to build. So coming to platform like us, we pay salary and bonus and everything, give them time to actually come up with the startup, with the idea. So this type of thing is like a platform that allow you to fail fast and then reiterate. And we really hope that, the entrepreneur would like come out with something, because I think when they come here, they would like to be successful and be able to start a startup that could spin out and raise money from outside. And so that's why we are the platform that provide the cushion to entrepreneurs. And once, they came out with the idea and tested already, achieve product solution fit, product market fit, because, all these tractions, parameters, the number of users really grow exponential, the transaction volume value really grow exponential. And, there are so many users from different type of countries, and then they come because they really like some certain unique things that the founder built, then we would invest in the startup and then spin them out and raise money from outside, and then hope they grow to become, a big successful company. Yeah, so right now we have quite a few in the pipeline, and one that I really like is the one that build tokenomic auditors and also token wasting insights dashboard. I think that nowadays there are so many projects that launch token, but whatever they wrote in their white paper and what they actually really implement might not be really like 100%, matching. And right now, nobody actually went in and actually looked at exactly whether it's matched with the white paper or not. So something like this, like as an investor, I'm always curious. And, for someone to come in and do all the legwork, I think for the VC, we wouldn't mind paying for something like this as a subscription, but we would like someone to go in, do the research, deep dive, and then, report out as like a tokenomic auditors, and also on vesting schedule as well. When will tokens be unlocked and the impact and things like that, and who are selling during all this unlock, if we could get more insight and the impact.
That's exciting. Yeah, I mean, they, do your own research, right? But it sounds like your own research as a service, providing that type of visibility for investors to ensure, that the projects are actually launching as planned. So it certainly sounds like a very interesting product. I'm sure a lot more to come out of the pipeline. But I think we've covered a lot of ground. We just wanted to leave it open before we head out to see if there's anything else you wanted to cover today, but really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jim, for having me. Yeah, so just in general, for us, we are not just investor and builder, but we always love to educate the general public, how fascinating is this area of blockchain and crypto. And, it can have so much impact to various industries, just like internet back in 2000. And therefore, we would like to educate the public about this area. So we always have a lot of events. Recently, we had the DeFi Virtual Summit that we invited Rob, other founders, to come to speak to the public. And we always have hackathon as well, multiple times a year, so that we could draw in people who interested to build, to try it out and win the prize. And hopefully they can either come and build with us, or they can build with our partners who come as like judge and mentors. Yeah, really hope that all the builders out there will focus on building. And, if they are looking to do fundraising, please contact us, because we are actively investing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We'll definitely use this platform, for continued education for builders and for investors, and would love to have you on future shows, because I'm sure a lot more will come out of both the portfolio in the builder side as well as on your fund side. And not a bad opportunity to do a hackathon on a beach in Thailand. So those out there that are looking for a good destination to do a hackathon, Thai is
you can be our mentor next time on
that's great.
I'll be the beach area.
Yeah, I'd love to take you up on that. Again, really appreciate it, Tai. Thank you so much. That's all the time I really appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back again soon with another episode of Compound Thesis.
Okay. Thank you very much.